Welcome, Unique Mortals. My name is Drew, and in today's On The Play video, we're going to be playing some more paper sorcery over at Reaper Game Store. So let's get to it. So I'm playing my buddy Blake, who has a YouTube channel called The Experience Share. I will link in the video description so you can go check it out, and I definitely recommend subscribing. He has an awesome channel. But what I really wanted to show off today was how good my Battlemage deck is against Deathspeaker. I feel like it's the anti-Deathspeaker deck. It's really good against it. So you can see here I have an absolutely terrible hand.
Feels like this is a TTS game right now with my hand.
It does feel like a TTS game. I have 3 Quagmires in my hand. I actually used ChatGPT to see the probabilities of that happening, and it's 0.08%. So
for me.
Pretty crazy here. Really, really bad hand. I did have a Wind Blast as well, which at the time of me recording this, I actually took it out of the deck.
I will start.
It's good, but there's a better card option. Link in the description for my deck, Battlemage.
Bedrock back here, and then I'll pass.
Starting off with a Bedrock.
Uh-oh, I got the TTS bug. Scribe bug here. Sorry. All right, so we will tap. Go Observatory.
Starting off with Observatory, very strong for Deathspeaker. Typically with Battlemage, I like to play a 4-square pattern, either 12, 13, 17, 18, or 13, 14, 18, 19, and kind of stay there. Deathspeaker tends to be a little bit more passive, and they'll typically play out wide.
I'll tap.
So you have to keep that in mind against Deathspeaker. You have to play pretty smart.
For 2, I'll Common Sense.
Sure.
With that being said, I could have played up onto 13 to see which side he goes on to either match it or not match the side he's playing on. But I decided to go off to the side here, which you could go either way. You could play up to 13 if you wanted to. Yeah, as you can see, he's playing passive. He's playing to his left.
Sounds good.
And I did Common Sense for an Entangle to make sure we have that in hand.
Tap. I'll Gothic.
Now, one of the best starts you can have is this play right here, which is a turn 3 Pudge.
It's Pudge. And pass.
It's going to really force the hand of the opponent, regardless if it's Deathspeaker or not. This setup is my favorite setup. Either playing to 13 first, as in your second sight, or your third sight.
Yep.
I have no sights in hand, so I can't do anything off the Imperial.
Very nice.
And I will go ahead and pass over to you.
I will draw a sight.
Drawing our 4th sight to get the 4 lands that we need for the
I
deck.
think I'm going to stay here. Let's see how we want to do this.
Playing the opposite side of his sight setup, which I like to do a lot.
Bolt, I think.
I'm reaching for a bolt so I can
bolt here.
Sounds good.
get rid of the Scarab and pull the Deathspeaker closer to me.
And then I will tap, and then I'll Pudge your Deathspeaker.
And just because I know how most of the Deathspeaker decks are built, it's going to be pretty hard for him to get out of this situation. So that's why I decided to do that
Turn 3
so early.
That puts you in a good spot.
He doesn't have a lot of answers other than, I think traditionally Deathspeaker does the Bane Widow. So if they do a Summoning Sphere and then a Bane Widow, but that's a 2-card combo in their hand. So he's got one part of it now, Summoning Sphere.
And then we will spend 2 mana.
Luckily, he doesn't have the other part.
Okay.
So this is good for us. We know that we Common Sense for a Entangle. So at this point of the game, I feel pretty good here. Should be pretty quick.
We'll draw a spell for turn.
At this point in the game, we can just continue to draw spells. We're not really going to reach for any sights.
Pudge you for 5.
And so minions occupying the affected site lose airborne.
And now, because I'm swinging into the Battlemage, the Entangled terrain, the Scarab and the Falconer can't follow me. They can, but they're not going to be able to block.
Yep. It could not move into block. It become immobile at that point.
That's correct, yep. And then I will pass turn.
Sounds good.
There's a lot going on over here.
Yes. And Deathspeaker's not having it too much. It's, all right. teleport.
Blake is an incredibly smart player, so I'm glad I'm able to play with him so frequently.
Can't walk. All right, I like the combo there. So we're gonna tap
Appreciate it, Blake.
tower. So we will be at
He's at 6 mana now because of that tower. It's his first lone tower.
and for a violent, we're gonna hit the Pudge Butcher.
Okay.
And then with the remaining,
He decides to hit the
mana,
Pudge Butcher for 2 of that damage.
4, we're gonna play a Clamor of Harpies.
Okay.
We're gonna pull over the Sacred Scarabs. We're gonna strike the Sacred
Incredible
Scarabs.
play.
We're gonna deal 3 damage
Incredible play
instead
for
of
the
2, so
circumstance
take
that
3,
he's
go for
in.
3,
He does have to
take 3,
take
go for 3,
damage.
Get rid of the Pudge.
Perfect. Great play.
Yeah, he's casting the Clamor of Harpies on top of Site 13 because of his Summoning Sphere, pulling in the Scarab to blow it up. And then since he's already done 2 damage to the Pudge with the Vile Imp trigger, it kills the Pudge.
This spell
Luckily
for
for
turn.
us, we do have
I
a
will
buff spell in hand,
overpower,
Oh, no.
so we're going to be able to
bring you to
overpower.
door,
Sounds good.
Bring him to door real quick.
and then I will pass turn. This will be a 2.
2. We're gonna have to take a spell.
And there's really no reason for us to show any additional cards in hand because we feel pretty confident that we have the win at this point.
And we have 2 air thresholds, so we'll go ahead, play a Highland Princess. Grab a Philosopher's Stone. Alright, and then we'll go ahead and pay 1 for the Philosopher's Stone.
Yep.
We'll play that under the Deathspeaker.
Okay.
And with the 1 mana, we'll use the discount. We'll go ahead and do a Violent.
He's getting the cost reduction.
Battlemage for 2.
Vile Imp only costs 1 for him right now. First fire spell this turn.
The turn, we'll go ahead and do the Almighty Strike for 1.
Down to 13.
And we will pass.
Untap. Spell for turn.
No grapple shot, no common sense. No grapple shot, no common sense.
Sorry, Blake.
Boom, man.
Good game.
Grapple shot for the win and a gentleman's
That
handshake.
was some early pressure.
Oh, it was. man.
Yeah.
That was great. No, I mean, whenever I was here, I was like, I maybe could have taken the turn to walk over, and that would have probably changed things for me. So I think
I really don't like to say that Entanglemage is a
I play a little
incredibly aggressive turn 3 type of deck, but it definitely can if it needs to be. Now game 2, I'm going to apologize in advance.
it's less than a deck, so we're gonna put this
The opening hand is fantastic other than the trinket. This is exactly what I would want against
gonna buy
a
one
Deathspeaker. I have that turn 3 Pudge. I also have a Root Spider. Couldn't ask for anything more. But you'll see how one tiny mistake will completely destroy the game.
I think I'm feeling a little
Because the
bit
hand
nervous
is
this one.
almost
We'll
perfect
see
in this
what the
matchup.
next couple of draws end up shaking out.
Let's do it.
All right, I'm ready when you are. All right, so we're gonna
Blake
swap
is on the
our
play.
Almighty turn 1 observatory. Look at these things.
2 for 2 in observatories. First sight.
All right, these are about
Looks
the
like he's got 2 Wayfaring Pilgrims and a Ruby Core.
that and this
I don't even think he had to rearrange anything, so that was pretty perfect.
and I'll play down an Amethyst Core. And
Pretty good
we'll-
turn 1 for him.
Spell for turn. I think I'll start with a windmill back here. And my turn 1's not as impressive as yours, so I'll just pass turn.
Yeah, not a fancy turn 1 for us compared to Blake.
And we will go ahead, take a spell here.
Let's see what he does. If he decides to play wide again.
Things up a little bit. I'm gonna play out an aggressive Imperial Road.
Right, he plays an Imperial Road. I decide not to play a site next to him. I think we would just be in a really bad position if we did that. A lot of our damage is going to come from the Battlemage, so we don't need a site over there. It's okay if he ramps. Against Deathspeaker, we just really need an entangle. We're pretty good.
Okay. That'll help. So take
He's looking at the top 7, but he's already seen 2 of the cards from
chance to be able to draw again.
his observatory, so
I doubt with how aggressive.
he's putting both of those Wayfaring Pilgrims to the bottom.
Just play one more core.
He's got a lot of mana, and I've got 1 site.
2 spell.
5 mana to 1. Traditionally, that wouldn't feel good, except I have an answer
at
for
home
the
are gonna
majority of
think
his deck.
My deck's boring. I've got nothing going on over here.
It does seem boring.
Pass turn.
Four. We go ahead and tap.
Okay.
I'll play out a Geist Sword.
That's a good one.
Nice
One,
one.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna refill with a Grandmaster.
Jeez Louise. Okay, wow.
We will draw 3.
Grandmaster on his turn 3.
Okay.
That is a
And
great start for him.
that is gonna be all we're gonna be able to do. But you have 2 sites, and I have a Grandmaster Wizard out.
It's not too bad.
I'm not too upset about that.
No, that's not bad. A spell for turn.
This is the turn that is
tap.
terrible, and I apologize.
And
We'll see what happens. I play a state to 12, which I could have done to 17. Doesn't really matter.
There it is.
do I want to put it here though? I'll put
But
it here.
turn 3 Pudge, and you notice I thought I was going to play it on 13, and I decided to pull it back to 18.
Tap here.
I don't really know why I did that. That is a terrible, terrible play, and you'll see why in a second.
So
Putting Pudge on 13 is definitely the right answer. I'm not sure
over here in the
why I did that to 18, but it's good to see how a little tiny mistake like that will completely change the game.
That too.
and I'll go ahead
He puts an Angel Egg on 5, kind of out of reach for a while, which is unfortunate, but luckily he's still at
We'll start
20.
by pudging the Grandmaster.
sounds good.
Kinda wanna make
So I
some
pudge his Grandmaster, right? And I move my Battlemage up, and I don't play a sight. That is really, really bad for us. What I could have done
I think I'll pass
was
turn.
put my Pudge on 13, played the sight, and then pudged my own Battlemage up to 13, made an advance on the board up to 13, and obviously not fight the Battlemage to lose life. And I still could have done all of that. So I'm definitely a turn behind. I don't have 4 sights, which is where I need to be.
Speaker.
So that's mistake number 1. Let's just say that's not the only mistake this game.
Let's go spell. Doesn't feel great, but I will. Feels kind of
I'm
bad.
thinking about swinging, but I don't. I say to myself, hey, we need our 4th
I'll
sight.
pass turn.
It's a tower. We don't get the benefit of that
See how
extra
nice I
mana.
am?
You are nice.
I didn't swing at you at all. I didn't.
Attack. You just moving
And
things around.
what a huge mistake it was to
anything.
move that root spider.
What a good guy.
Huge mistake.
Yeah.
All right, I think
Also not sure why I did that either.
One out of your playbook and turn the pressure up a little bit. So we're
I like to see it.
And we have 7 mana, so let's pay 1 for some.
He's at 7 mana. He's got Summoning Sphere,
6
God.
for a Nimbus Shield.
a Nimbus Djinn right on top of me. If I just kept my root spider back, he's not doing that.
I think we will go ahead and discard the hand, and we'll deal with
Discards his entire hand for 18 damage, and
Very nice.
this was the exact moment that Blake and I stopped being friends, actually.
I want to have 2
Just
into
kidding.
the hand. We'll go ahead and add one, at least somehow I have-
Yeah, that was a really good play by him. Really bad play by me.
I'll pass here.
So I'm not sure why I
Go
did that.
sight. But not for that reason. I did not want that card. Let's
I drew a sight there because I was hoping for a pillar. His graveyard was, I think that was my only out at this point, because I can get rid of the Djinn with the Pudge. And then if I was able to, his graveyard is pretty stacked right now. You can't see it's off camera, but it's pretty stacked. So
I'll pass turn.
I decided to swing into him for 3.
The Angel's Egg here.
Yes.
That sight was pretty much useless. He gains a life from the Angel's Egg.
I hope it's a bad card.
It feels bad all around.
Genesis, a Vile Imp. We're going to do it away from your Root Spider, though, so we can take it.
Vile Imp, he just recast that from the cemetery. Again, that's why I was reaching for the sight, to hopefully exile those, or banish those.
And with that, I will pass, and I will gain 1 from the Angel's Egg.
And he just simply passes.
Draw.
We're in a bad
I
spot
feel
here.
very dead.
I move over. Obviously,
swing for
Blake could just
3.
swing into me and kill me. I'm hoping he doesn't see it at this point. There's really no
For 2,
good place
I'll
for me to
dispel
go.
that.
I have to try and dispel the Angel's Egg. That's why I did move
you
over,
got- you've got
so
one
I could
card
be
here.
2 steps away from the
Ball
dispel.
Oh, no. Okay.
I just try to start putting some pressure on him to kind of,
Alas.
distract him from the fact that he could just swing into me and kill me right here.
Draw.
My Pudge is so lonely.
It is lonely.
Pudge
So
was very lonely.
I had plans for that, but I misplayed very hard.
And we'll play a Ruins.
That you did. That you did.
Put it behind you. I think it's a good spot. And just because I'm getting a little anxious, you're putting cards.
He could have
off.
finished the game there, like I mentioned,
And so we're gonna play
but Blake wants to win in
the
style.
Root Spider was scaring me. And with that, I will pass turn.
Okay.
Pass his turn.
I wish I could do something.
Yeah, there's nothing at this point that I
don't
can
have a
do
Vile Imp in the cemetery
that would
card.
help me.
Violence.
Okay. That's what I like to hear.
Some wizards.
Blake's just showing us what he has in his cemetery.
I
He's
think
got
I'll
nothing that
just
can deal a direct damage to me.
tangle here,
Okay.
and then
Just tangling up the Death
I'll
Dealer.
swing here for 3,
Take 3.
and then I'll pass turn.
All right.
Don't really have much else I can do.
We'll untap. Draw spell. My favorite things about
Another
sorcery
Pudge,
is
Blink.
how thematic
Mm-hmm.
the cards are.
Uh-oh.
So we're gonna play out
Uh-oh.
a Mount Vesuvius.
Vesuvius.
So good.
And with our triple threshold, we will
He's
go
got
ahead
3
and
threshold.
get the Vesuvius.
Very nice.
And another gentleman's
That was
handshake.
awesome. What a good
Yep,
game.
great game. That was awesome.
Yes.
To see how
be on the
small of a mistake can lead to a loss, so you have to pay really close attention to those details. Putting the Pudge up on 13 is definitely the answer going forward, which is what I always do. I don't know why I did that there. Blake has 2 Vile Imps. He's got a Bane Widow in hand. My hand, it's interesting. I don't really like any of those cards in my hand.
I might be quite aggressive.
The Grapple Shot and the Lightning Bolt, I can tutor for
usually
them,
am, but I kinda like this
so
last
I don't really like having them in my opener. Grapple Shot sometimes. I saw in game 1, you know, it could have been really good in game 1, and it could be really good here. I do decide to mull it down, so I'm pretty aggressive. I like my
1 and
sights,
3. All 3 spells.
but I think it's fine because I play a playset of all of those. It's not detrimental if I put them to the bottom. I will typically see them again. I draw into 2 entangles and a common sense. So like I said, I could get the grapple again if I wanted to. When playing the deck, you got to remember that the ordinaries, you can just bottom because you will typically be able to access them
Do a
again.
windmill back here, and then I'll pass.
All right. And go ahead and take a spell. All right. And let's go and tap for an observatory with the top 3.
Is that
3
games
for
in a
3
row?
on Observatories turn
Observatory on
1.
turn 1?
For him, that's really, really good for Deathspeaker.
So yeah,
Looks like he has 2 Wayfaring Pilgrims in his hand again, and a Scarab.
will pass turn.
No core?
No core.
Oh my
no
gosh.
stones. I know.
Does seem like Deathspeaker players always have
going on
cores in
over
their
there?
hand.
Play a bedrock.
Very nice.
And I was fortunate enough to get.
I try to show him up and show the
I don't like
stone.
doing this early. For 1, I'll common sense. Don't like.
Yeah, I mentioned I don't really like doing common senses that
Okay,
early
shuffle
for,
that, though.
you know, not
Go grab it.
seeing something that I need to respond to, but I do get the grapple because I decide to be a little aggressive. That's why I'm okay with, again, bottoming the grapple shot in the opener.
See what we can draw here that might help us.
The hand is
Tap.
looking pretty gas right now.
And
Definitely
my
excited
favorite
about
part
that
of
hand.
Speaker is Wayfaring Pilgrim.
Mm-hmm.
So we can walk it over to a corner sometime soon. Faster.
Wayfaring Pilgrim is a great card with Deathspeaker, especially when you play out to the side like this on turn 2.
I'll actually draw a sight.
I draw a sight here, even though I have a sight in hand, because I have a Pillar of Zeros in my hand, and I would like to use that
Sight.
later on in the event his cemetery is full.
And for 2.
And then for 2, even though I have 4 mana,
To you.
grapple onto
I'll
him.
pass turn.
All right. You are right there on top of me. Can I steal that Philosopher's Stone out of your hands?
And because I have for 2 reasons why I played up like that when I'm always talking about playing the 4 square is because the grapple got me over there. It only cost 2 to do that, and then on the next turn with only 3 sights, my hand can survive the rest of the game with just 3 mana. So because I have a Philosopher's Stone, that is, so I can play my entangles now, and I can start swinging on the very next turn.
Go ahead and take our Pilgrim on a
If I
nice
didn't
little
have an
walk
entangle
here.
in hand, I probably wouldn't do this play so aggressively. He's moving the Wayfaring Pilgrim over so he can do the card draw.
Go ahead and play out a trusty Vile Imp. We'll go ahead and hit you
Plays the
with
imp on top of us. We lose 2.
I will pass turn.
Sounds great.
Deathspeaker decks are so good for all the small little chip damage and then the Nimbus Djinn combo over the top. This deck's completely fine with both of those.
Okay.
I'll swing for 3.
So now it's not about killing his minions. I want to keep them on the board. That's why this deck is so good against Deathspeaker. They anticipate blocking and killing their own minions, so they can go to the cemetery and then bring them back. You don't want to do that against Deathspeaker. You just want to keep swinging as much as you can. try to get buff spells out,
It can walk in here, but it's just
It can.
disabled once it's in here.
bring their damage down really
Then
quickly,
mobile once he's in.
Immobile,
Yep.
sorry. Thank you.
and try to prevent the Nimbus Djinn combo.
We have 4 mana. Let's go Pilgrim.
Another Pilgrim.
Draw. And another Pilgrim.
Wow.
And another Pilgrim.
I will pass to you.
Crazy.
Sounds great.
Very good hand for him.
Spell for turn. I'll swing for 3.
All right, take 3.
I'll pass turn.
I unfortunately don't really have much in the hand at this point that's going to do additional damage. I think I have, yeah, you can see I have a Dispel in hand, which I want to hold on to because Deathspeaker decks are so powerful with an Angel's Egg. This is a fantastic play by Blake. He played the desert, pinged his observatory, killed his own Wayfaring Pilgrim so we can bring him back from the cemetery and get that draw ability. Very, very good. Blake's doing a browse here, looking at the top 7. You can see he has a lot of draw spells. He has Grandmaster Wizard. He has Pact with the Devil. Looks like he has Clamor.
There's, I think, more powerful cards, but... And
He had a lot of good pieces to a Deathspeaker deck, but he decided to take the Angel's Egg,
play out an Angel's Egg.
which is a very smart play by him. Very smart play. This is why having a Dispel is so important.
Just because
in the deck.
Now you have Dispel, I'm going to make you walk if you want to do that. Stay out of range from
He puts it over there. If you can't hear him, he puts it over to 10 because I'd have to walk. I'd have to move the Battlemage over if I wanted to get rid of it. So
into the corner, so it'll enter it to the front
cast his first card from the cemetery.
a spell. And with that, I will pass turn and gain 1 life.
Up to 12.
And now he's
Spell for
gaining
turn.
life.
For 2, I'll play a
I already took
flank.
the life here. You didn't see it off camera. I was deciding the play line I wanted to do.
Sounds good.
He was at
I'll draw
12
a
at the
card.
start of this turn. I just decided to do a flank,
Swing here.
swing into it,
Take 3. You're already at 9. And then
and
I'll
then
dispel
from
this area here.
from 9, destroy his Angel's
Then
Egg.
I'll pass turn and open the floodgates.
Like it. And draw a spell. Okay. We will tap and we'll draw a sight for Philosopher's Stone
Not a great late game draw.
for the Apprentice Wizard. And draw a card. We'll pay 1 for a
He
Pilgrim.
paid 2 for the Wizard. He pays 1 for the Wayfaring Pilgrim from his cemetery to draw another card.
Pretend to be aggressive here.
And now he's just going to start swinging.
And then I will pass turn.
Spell
So
for turn.
all the damage we've taken from this game is
will
Vile Imp and
swing
Vile
here
Imp.
for
Same one.
3.
Take 3.
2, play a Scarecrow.
Now this is MVP of the
I
deck.
don't like Nimbus Shins. Got it.
Scarecrow, I highly recommend
I
it.
will
In the deck,
pass
you
turn.
can see if you look at the deck list, link in the description, there is one in the main board and there's also one in the sideboard as well, and it is anti-Nimbus Djinn tech. So at this point, he can't drop a Nimbus Djinn on top of the site that I'm on right now because Nimbus Djinn is airborne, and so he would not be able to play a Nimbus Djinn onto square 10.
Sacred Scarabs.
Also, his Sacred Scarabs, he can't swing them into me and try to deal that 4 damage to me. So it really shuts down airborne minions, but specifically Scarecrow's in the deck for Nimbus Djinn tech.
You know what? Play an Amethyst Core and then go ahead and pass turn.
Okay.
And it's an ordinary. You can tutor it with a common sense, so it's so strong.
Tangle here for 3.
Okay.
Now we're going to entangle
I think I'll
his whole
swing
board.
here for 3.
Just start swinging up into the corner. Bring him down to 3.
And then I'll unfortunately pass turn.
And we're doing what Entangle Mage does. We're entangling.
Play a Falconer out. I was trying to see if Falconer could summon a.
So even though this Scarab that he's about to put out, this Scarab that he just put out, is not a part of the 4 square of the Entangle, he still can't swing into me on square 5 because of the Scarecrow.
No. No, it is only minions though, so I can walk with my Deathspeaker.
Very, very strong card.
And might be the play that we go with right now. So let's go ahead and
I have another common sense in hand, as you can see. So I have a lot of utility that I can access. So I'm feeling pretty good at this point of the game.
been untapped. I can't go anywhere thanks to entangled terrain, but and then we can go ahead and throw out another scarabs, just so that way you know what's around.
Another scarab. It loses airborne because it's a part of the entangle. It's another awesome part about entangled terrain. So if I wanted to swing into him for whatever reason, I could with a Battlemage, since he's no longer airborne.
I will.
But that's not what we do here. We just swing at the sites
Sounds good.
or the avatar, bring him down to death's door, and we feel really good with what we have in our hand. We have a lightning bolt in hand. We also have a common sense, so we can reach for a grapple shot if we need to, a teleport if we need to. We have a lot of utility in our site that we can get to. I put the root spider on the surface on my home site to kind of, if he, gotta keep him where he's at right now and not bring him down to 13.
Play that for free next to the Philosopher's Stone.
But Blake has a change of plans.
We'll do Death Dealer.
Yeah, plays a Death
And so
Dealer,
before
destroys
anything,
everything.
I will take 3 because your scarab dies there.
Yep.
It'll die.
1, 2, 3.
Since the scarab's on square 4, it deals me 3 damage, so from its death rate ability.
And then now let's go ahead. Get in there for
Down
1.
to 6.
We're gonna go ahead and cast the Pilgrim in that corner for the first time.
You have a
Brings
giant
back a Wayfaring Pilgrim, puts more cards in his hand.
Next turn, but not this turn. So we'll go ahead, pass it over to you. Well, I mean, you can think of all the scarabs that would have been diving down on you.
Oh, yeah.
If it wasn't
Again,
for
Blake's deck will be in the video
the
description, so you can
Entangle's
check it
been doing
out.
a
It
lot
is
of
an
work, because I'm
awesome,
just
really,
sitting
really
here,
strong
so-
Deathspeaker deck. Highly recommend checking it out.
I have it. I will.
Also, his YouTube channel, The Experience Share. Check it out. Subscribe.
For 1, I'll common sense.
Only costs 1 with the
The very bottom.
reduction from Philstone. I get the grapple shot. And for a third time,
Good game.
gentleman
Good
handshake.
game.
Thank you all for watching, and if you like this content and you want to see more of it, please comment, like, and consider subscribing to the channel. I would greatly appreciate that, and I will see you in the next one.